expected of them. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Your Viewpoint. This is a program designed to encourage moral living and provide possible solutions to moral issues in the society. I am Rotimi Akintunde, and on today's first episode of this show, we will be talking about how to curb moral decadence in the society. A lot of things are happening, and of course, over the years, moral decadence has been a controversial issue. In fact, it has become a serious problem such that it looks like it's hard to differentiate between what is morally right and morally wrong. We are going to be talking about all of this. We're going to be looking at who is responsible, what should be done. Does it look like people are trying as much as possible to bring down the level of moral decadence in the society? And it looks like nothing is happening. What exactly should we do? I will go on a break now, and when I'm back, I will be introducing my guest to you. Thanks for staying with us. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying there. It's still Your Viewpoint coming right at you at this time. And of course, I told you before I went on that break that I have a guest in the studio. And of course, it will be doing justice to what we are looking at this afternoon. Of course, I told you we will be talking about curbing moral decadence in the society. It's a pleasure to introduce to you at this time a life coach. He's also an emotional intelligence expert. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. His name is Mr. Tosin Imugeme.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, Mr. Rotimi.
All right, very quickly, we want to look at moral decadence. While you were growing up, what is it like? What we have today, how would you compare?
Okay, yeah, thanks for that. You know, you're just taking me down memory lane.
Of course.
I think, okay, talking about morals now, morals is the distinction between right and wrong. And usually, born in the normal, conventional family system, I have a father and mother, not a polygamous home. Mm-hmm. I grew up with, of course, values that my parents were, not necessarily, yes, some imposed, because, during my generation, we used to have a lot of would I say then when we were being nurtured, they would, beat us and ensure that we adhere to the rules and regulations. However, there were certain morals that we emulated from the parents.
Okay, give us examples.
Okay, yeah.
Some of those things that you were brought up with.
Vividly, I can remember when I went to the boarding school, and at the boarding school, you mingle with other people, with other children, other kids with different beliefs, different value system and all that. And my mother, I remember specifically, she always tell me, Tosin Yoruba, she'll say, Tosin, remember the son or child of whom you had. That's the translation in English. Mm-hmm. And whenever she tells me that, it makes me feel like a king, like the son of a king. And what she's trying to tell me is, now you're going into the world, don't do anything that would bring down the family name. They say a good name is better than fine perfume. So that's whenever I go out there or go to the school and I'm perhaps tempted to do one or two things or join bad gang, I remember the moral values that my mother had taught me not to do anything that would bring shame to the family name.
All right, let's quickly look at this issue. You've been taught all of those things you need to know. You get to school, then you remember. But the case now is that it looks like, in fact, I would quickly talk about boarding school. Okay. Do you see boarding school as a very good social agent in bringing up children morally?
Well, it's not the boarding school. Okay. I don't even think the school has that. I don't think it's that they should be subjected to the grooming of a child.
Why?
Because it's primarily the mother of the child or the parents of the child
Okay.
that should groom the child. However, secondarily, it is the community. There's a proverb that says that it takes a community or it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
Now, if I tell my child, don't steal or don't do this, he may decide to obey within the jurisdiction of the home.
Okay.
Whenever he's at home, he doesn't steal milk, doesn't steal butter, or whatever it is, or bread. However, when that child gets out, feeling that, okay, my father is no longer looking at me, my mother is no longer looking at me, he or she may want to do that. But when the society or when the community is involved and you see a child, portraying or exhibiting some traits that are not morally, good, then of course it is the duty of the community or the society to correct that child. However, I think it's now, a lot of things have changed. The world is evolving. In those days, you had parents or you have mothers who are naturally housewives. Most women were housewives, and they were tasked with the role of grooming the children. Now, the economy, looking at the economic situation, now it's the father and the mother out there fighting for trying to get the daily bread to make ends meet. So in that vein, the children are subjected to housemaids or to boarding homes to cater for the children, and that's where, if there is a conflict in beliefs or values, if this is something you believe, you've been brought up in a certain way, and you go out there and you're being taught something else, then of course there will not be sort of the conflict.
All right, let's quickly look at the other time when you disagree with the fact that boarding schools might not be a major a factor when it comes to raising a child. Some may want to disagree with you. Now, the reason is because the boarding school is part of the school system, the educational system. When you graduate from a university, you are rated based on conduct and your academic performance. Now, it goes back to secondary schools and other schools we have. Now, the issue is, over the years, people are concerned about the fact that, okay, boarding schools, when I put my children in a boarding school, it will help them to grow, it will help them to wake up early, it will help them to read well and all of that. Does it mean that it's not...
Let me explain certain foundational issues to you, because, you can decide to use a cutlass now to cut off weed. But if the roots has not been, if you don't uproot the roots, it's going to still spring up. So when we do address issues from, the roots, of course, you still have issues. Now, looking at the family system, Aristotle once says that give me a child until he's 7, and I will show you the man. The Christians will say, train a child in the way he ought to go, or to grow, and when he becomes an adult, he shall not depart from it. Now, psychologically, the first 7 years of a child are the formative years. That's when a baby comes into the world with a clean slate mind. He doesn't know right from wrong. The conscience is even neutral. That's why you see that if you give a child to a terrorist, a baby to a terrorist, and you come back in 7 years' time or 10 years' time, you don't meet a normal child. You meet also a terrorist.
A changed child.
A terrorist. Do you get?
Absolutely.
And you see these kids, or you see this portraying or killing, indulging in massacre, and they don't feel bad. They don't feel bad because their conscience, over time, they've been built with the wrong ideology. So they don't even feel bad about what they're doing. Now, this first 7 years, naturally kids learn by observation. There's a quote that says that don't be worried that your kids are not listening to you. Be worried that your kids are always watching you. So they learn by observation. When you put something in your mouth, they want to do it. You pick up a remote, they want to do it. Everything you do, they want to mirror, they want to model your behavior. So that's what they are grown with. So that after the first 7 years, afterwards it's now repetition. They see things, and what they see over time, there's a saying that guard your heart with all the duty, just how it comes to issues of life. What you see over time, faith comes a year and a year. What you subjected your eyes and your ears to, of course, affect you. So if the foundation is good, it becomes difficult, for the society out there to pollute the child.
All right, let's quickly look at people who are supposed to be part of the family, people who make up the family. Now, we have people who make up the family in the society. Of course, you've seen recent report, talk about vandalism, talk about promiscuity and all of that. Of course, I'm sure you must have heard about what happened recently, the polygamy matter and all of that, the videos by teenagers and all of that. Yeah. Now, people who are supposed to be the bearers of moral lives and all of
that.
The
caretakers.
Yes. Now, a situation whereby we have them and they do not do what is expected of them, what becomes of the society? Now, do you see a society that is morally sound? And with this, do you think moral decadence can be reduced to the barest minimum with a crop of family members we have as it is in this modern society?
Okay, I was speaking about the transition now from the home to the boarding house.
Yes.
Now, it's quite difficult. Let me give you this scenario. It's raining out there, but you're under a shelter. And of course, because you're under a shelter, you don't get wet. Okay. If you go out there without an umbrella, what's going to happen? You're definitely going to get wet. Absolutely. So a child that is well trained at home, but subjected to the moral decadence in the society, would end up becoming polluted. Because, they say, bad company corrupts good manners. Okay. When you are mixed people, that's why you see sometimes, I was driving down to the studio, and I saw bus drivers throwing out, or even passengers throwing out pep bottles into on the road and all that, and they feel normal about it. But these same people, when they go to a different society, perhaps they travel to developed nations, what happens? They instantly adjust.
Okay.
Because that the society, of course, the law enforcement agencies would capture you and all that. So it is a challenge now, because certain people may, of course, be groomed well or be nurtured well, but still be still be polluted by the society. And with the family being tasked with the primary role of grooming children, and yet you now have these same people are the one instilling or polluting that child, or harming that child. Yes. Then it's a greater problem. But it still boils down to the fact that, you see, individual, you may call it, for example, Nigeria is just a geographical area.
Yes.
Nigeria is filled with Nigerians. It's when the people come together, that's when you can call that place a country or something.
All right, let me quickly take you on this. The first social agent that should be responsible for the development of a child morally should be what? Family, society, community.
Family is the smallest unit.
Okay, we will go on this break. When we're back, we're going to talk about parenting, which is of course a part of the family setting, and we are going to focus on bad parenting. So what will happen to children that are not parented? Yes, as it were. We'll go on a short break, and Oluwatosin Maliki will be giving us healthy tips for adult eating. Please go nowhere.
A child in the distance, playing in the rain, the sweet sound of water flowing away, a construction worker coming home from work, two parents and their children going to church, a happy little baby drools on your shirt. What an extraordinary day. Let us have a world of ordinary people, living life the way God wants us to. And if we have a world of ordinary people, extraordinary things will happen to me and you. Just a man, but he'd kill his son for the price of a lamb. And let us consider ordinary Job, who lost it all, but in God had his hope. Now ordinary David, a little shepherd boy, brought down Goliath with a stone and a toy. Sweet little Jesus, ordinary child, the carpenter's first son, humble and mild. If anybody told you he'd be Messiah, you probably would laugh it off, I know. So let us have a world of ordinary people, living life the way God wants us to. And if we have a world of ordinary people, extraordinary things will happen to me and you. Every little baby has the power to be great, and every tall tree grew up from some mustard seed. No ordinary children going off to war, 'cause no single leader is worth dying for. No ordinary mother will cry herself to sleep, 'cause no ordinary father will come home after 3 a.m. that is. So let us have a world of ordinary people, living life the way God wants us to. And if we have a world of ordinary people, extraordinary things. Oh.
Did you know, as you become older, the foods and drinks that make up a healthy diet for you may be slightly different from when you were younger? This means you will need less of some foods and more of others. You simply need to be aware of some of your own specific nutrient requirements and adjust your food choices so your body gets exactly what it needs for good health in older age. It will be great if you consult your healthcare professional to prepare a healthy diet. Healthcare professionals advise that you should eat plenty of fiber and drink plenty of fluids. Water is essential for hydration, digestion, and blood volume. But now you are older, you may not feel as thirsty as you once did, even when your body needs fluids. Try to drink water, about 6 to 8 cups of fluid a day, and more in warmer weather or when exercising. High fiber foods and plenty of fluids will help to move slow bowels. Reduce foods in high saturated fats such as biscuits, cakes, pastries, pies, processed meats, commercial burgers, pizza, fried foods, potato chips, crisps, and other savory snacks. Limit alcohol, foods and drinks containing added salt, added sugars, such as confectionery, sugar-sweetened soft drinks, and cordials. Fruit drinks, vitamin waters, energy and sports drinks. Be physically active such as walking. You should also talk to your healthcare professional if you need to lose or gain weight. If you're on a budget, simply do your best with your food choices. Plan well, use what's available, and buy only what you need. Look out for quick and easy healthy recipes for 1 or 2 people, and try to eat regularly with family and friends if possible. Be careful with your teeth. If not, grains, hard fruits, and vegetables are difficult to chew. Try milled whole grains, soft cooked fruits and vegetables. If you're on bed rest or not exercising much, you may experience muscle loss, which can increase your risk of falls and broken bones. You may want to consider some proteins, which is essential for building, repairing, and maintaining healthy bones and muscles. Finally, ensure you go for regular medical checkups and adhere strictly to your doctor's advice. Thanks for watching. I am Oluwatosin Maliki. Let's join Oluwatobiloba in the world of sports. Please stay tuned.
Today, we are taking you down the memory lane to remind you of some noteworthy sport moments in Nigeria and the world. Arguably, the biggest sporting accolade has been the individual Olympic gold medal won by Chioma Ajunwa at the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, USA. Ajunwa became the first athlete in Nigeria to win an Olympic gold medal, and she is also the first Black African woman to win an Olympic gold medal in a field event. She remains Nigeria's only individual Olympic gold medalist to date. Nigeria became the first African country to win the Olympic gold in the football event at the 1996 Olympics. The team, captained by Nwankwo Kanu, went the circuitous route, coming from 3-1 down to Brazil in the semi-final to win 4-3 with a sudden death goal from Kanu, and then repeating the feat against Argentina in the finals. Nojim Mayegun represented Nigeria at the 1964 Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. Then he won the bronze medal in the men's light middleweight category and entered the history books as Nigeria's first Olympic medalist. Cristiano Ronaldo was picked up by Manchester United in 2003 after a preseason friendly with Sporting Lisbon. The match, which was the first game in the new stadium, saw the young star bamboozle the United defenders. The likes of John O'Shea and Rio King were shocked by Ronaldo's talent, and they reportedly told Fergie at halftime to sign him. After the 3-1 defeat, Ronaldo was kept behind by Manchester United, and the deal was done there and then. David Beckham began his professional soccer career with Manchester United in 1992. In 1995 to 1996 season, he made a breakthrough in Manchester United when he made 33 appearances in the Premier League. As proof of his capabilities in sports, he received several recognitions such as 6 Premier League titles and 2 FA Cups. Sadly, his time with Manchester United ended in 2003, and Beckham moved to Real Madrid after they have settled a €35 million transfer fee. Thanks for watching. I am Oluwatobiloba Martins. Your viewpoint continues.
Stand as a people with one song, with one voice. We're a nation undivided and poised. We will take a stand and build our land in faith to defend what is ours. Here we are as a people with one heart for one cause. We're determined to rebuild and restore. Where freedom rise and truth prevails, our land where there's hope for us all. Our land tongues, we're united in our strength and resolve to uphold the honor of our land and for generations to come. And for generations to come. We'll defend our land. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there. We'll defend our land. We believe in Nigeria and the promise she holds, and that one day we'll shine like the sun. We're a great nation.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. This is Your Viewpoint. We're still talking about curbing moral decadence in our society. What should be done? What is needed to be done? Now, we've been talking about the roles of the community, the society as it were, and of course the family. We want to look at bad parenting, people who are supposed to take charge of a child are not doing what they're supposed to do. Now, the case is, what happens? Because somebody said something, and it was about a situation where you have parents that are not trained giving birth to children.
Yeah, I love that.
So what happens to the society?
You see, we are evolving. That's the truth. We're evolving. Nigeria being a third world country, of course, things like this are bound to happen. But of course, you expect that with the technological advancement, we also have gone past this. Now, we still have, some of us, we still have this belief that the fact that you can produce a child will make you a parent, and that's wrong. It's the same way you're saying you could go to the market and buy a piano. Going to the market and buying a piano doesn't make you a musician. No. So the ability, you have the organ, you have what it takes to produce a child. But to father a child, fatherhood or parenting is a responsibility, and that's why you need to be trained. And now, of course, with the problems or the issues that's been arising in current times, I've now brought a sort of awakening to understand that you see parenting to be trained. Now, for example, you get pregnant, you go to the hospital for certain tests, you go for antenatal care and all that. There also, you need to go for counseling. When you get married, you ought to go for counseling. You don't just say you love someone and get married to the person. You need to go for marriage counseling. Now you're about to produce the child, you also need to go for what? Parental counseling. That's when you're now taught by psychologists, counselors, how to properly groom a child. But looking at the economy and looking at the fact that we've grown with certain beliefs, it's a challenge now in African culture to say, okay, I need to go and learn how to groom my child. I should groom my child however way I like, forgetting that, of course, knowledge is evolving.
Knowledge is power too.
It's progressive.
Yes.
We keep learning every day. Yes, this knowledge cannot solve tomorrow's problems. So we need to keep, evolving and learning new ways of doing things, unlearning, relearning, and learning new ways, new techniques of doing things.
All right, you've taken us to the area of science and technology, effect it would have on our society. And of course, what we need to do, can we really prevent children from all of these things? We will go on this break, but remember, you can join the conversation on our social media platforms. Your Viewpoint is the handle on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back after this break. Please go nowhere. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being there. We're still talking moral decadence in our society. And of course, we will see what people on the street are saying about the best way to curb moral decadence, what the causes are, and of course, we'll get to talk about it more after the Vox Pop. We'll be back after this. Go nowhere.
My name is Engineer Elvis Omogoje.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Please tell us your name.
My name is Beauty. So I feel like about moral decadence, I feel like everybody in the community has something to do about it. We know that social media is a very big influence on the growth of our kids of nowadays. I feel like the parents should do more to caution what the children are exposed to. And then the teachers have little to do about it. But if we, the parents, are not making moves about it, we feel like our children should do things and get away with them. So when they are not cautioned, they feel like it's normal, so they can take it outside and do it and then overly do it. When we now get to know, it feels like, they are kids and they could have been corrected. But I feel like once the charity begins at home, it can go anywhere with the child. I feel like the people, although we put in the term negligence, but I don't feel it's negligent. No parent is negligent about their child. It's just that they don't pay attention to the things the child are doing. And they feel like the child's comfort is paramount. They can give them whatever they want just to have that comfort that they desire. But not all comfort should be desired. Back then in our time, our parents used to scold us. But nowadays parents, we hardly ever scold our kids. And when we see that a child is being scolded, it feels like we are being harsh or overly wrong with their child. So everything has to do with the parents, basically. So our parents should at least once in a while talk to your children, know the things they are into, know their likes, know their dislikes, know what they want, and not everything they want we should go for. We should always put them right, because they will grow up with these things that we're inhibiting them right now. So that's what I feel. Well, religious bodies can do a little, not the whole, because a lot of children pay two-face. They have one character inside, they have another outside. So I feel like when the religious bodies are noticing one or two of these things, they should relate it back to the parents, because the parents may not even know. And many of the things the children are doing at home, the religious bodies too don't know. So I feel like they can work hand in hand. Once the religious bodies are in time with this, they can as well relay the information to the parents, and that way it will ease the stress on the site.
The children we see these days, they have different character because of what they watch from tellies, what they are seeing. They put it into practice. Except a home that is disciplined, a home that has the fear of God, a home that is educated. And most of the students or the children these days, they can hide their things at home. When they get to the school, they bring it out. So as for that one, you cannot put the blame on the parents or the teacher. What you do, you put into the hand of God, be praying for them. And as parents, you need to be friend to your children. You need to be friend to your children. Carry your children along. Anything, whatever you are doing, let your children knows about it. Then your children cannot hide things from you.
On my own belief, charity begins at home. So with the case at hand now, I believe 95% of it start with the parents. At least things we do in the midst of our children sometimes are very wrong. And like people that are somehow eligible with money like that, separating kids from their private room and giving them rooms, so you understand. And if I thought there's no even money for giving them separate room, at least we should be able to cope ourselves to some extent when the kids are around. So, and I believe peer group too, the kind of people our children roll with, it can add to what's on ground now. So I just believe parents should just be 101% careful when it comes to associating their kids with other kids. You don't know the background of separate kids from your own. So that's what I believe.
My name is Engineer Elvis Omogoje.
Thank you so much for staying with us. You're still watching Your Viewpoint. Now, I still have Tosin Emogeme in the studio, and we're still talking about issues surrounding moral decadence in the society. It's a wide topic, and of course, we're touching different areas because this is quite important. This is something people have been talking about years after years, and it looks like,
in my own opinion, it's a pandemic. It's a greater pandemic.
Okay, maybe greater than COVID-19.
Yeah, because you see, global warming may affect the health, but moral decadence is affecting humanity. It is. You're out there now and you get robbed. It affects every one of us. You're not safe out there. Even your kids, even if you feel, yes, you're grooming yourself the right way, your kids are out there in society and they could be corrupted. Now look at with the advent of social media.
Okay.
You know, all those things, even though they were invented by the developed nations and all that, they are censor, ways that systems to ensure that you censor these things. YouTube, for example, has YouTube for kids, such that when you get on YouTube, you're not subject to anything. But kids now would pick up that mobile phone or go on social media and see all kinds of things. So I haven't heard about the government, signing a bill into law where whoever gives hate speech and all the other areas that also the government can look into to ensure that people do not do. We live in a times where sex tapes are becoming rampant, but even celebrities. And who are the role models of your kids? The celebrities they watch on social media, the likes of the Davido and all that. But what they see, they see the tattoos and all that.
Okay. I want to quickly interfere. Situations where we have celebrities doing a lot of things. In fact, some of them are really doing well. Davido is also doing well.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. But then we need to question who models of our children are, so to speak. Who are you looking at? Who are you following? Now, very quickly, let us look at how to curb. Now, the first step to take when it comes to curbing people, curbing moral decadence, what should be the first step?
Now, I think, from what perspective? Do you mean the government, or do you think the family?
Yes, let's start with the family, because the family, of course, the cradle of the society is what becomes the government as well.
Yeah, of course,
People who are raised in different families,
of course,
take charge of positions, take charge of organizations, and all of that. So let's start with the family. What responsibility should the family take to curb moral decadence?
We've spoken about one already now.
Yes.
Every family, regardless of how mature your kids are, should now begin to go for parenting classes, taking parenting courses, learning how to properly, effectively manage children. Then, of course, you see, the best way you can be a model, the best way to groom a child is becoming a model of what you want that child. So it's not about saying do this and do that. It's about showing the child how you want that child to behave. Now, you can't have a father who smokes, who drinks, and then he tells his children not to drink and smoke. There will be a conflict. There will be a sort of curiosity in the mind of that child to want to try that thing that he sees his father or mother doing. So you need to model who you want to be, and they follow that steps. You see, even when they don't follow it, they have their conscience pricking in, like, oh, my dad is not like this, my mother is not like this. They begin to feel even a sort of dissatisfaction and sometimes even depressed that, you see, my father has left a good legacy for me and I'm not. But when the parents are not even good models, then kids, they'll feel, lackadaisical about it.
All right, you talked about, you talked about taking parenting courses.
Yeah.
I want you to quickly talk about people who are not educated, so to speak. So what happens to them?
That's why you have the religious houses come into play, the mosques, the churches and all that. And for the free thinkers, you have the government. Sensitization, the media is very crucial in grooming to society. The media is meant to entertain, inform, and educate the citizens. You can't have a society that is polluted and have good citizens. It's not possible. So we need proper sensitization, just the way we had during COVID.
Okay.
The government kept on sensitizing people, wear your face mask, don't go to. So that's how it's been done. And then you promote programs. We have programs that promote, all kinds of vices, promote immoralities. We should also have programs that will promote good things in the society. You see someone finish with the first class and then you give him 10,000 naira or 20,000 naira as a gift, whereas someone else goes on social media and or he goes on a live show and then is given millions even by leaders in the society. What are all these things? What do they amount to? It all tells, it all sells, or it all sends a message to the society that, oh, I don't necessarily have to do the right thing. I don't necessarily have to go to school, read, and I can indulge in certain things, make money, and then I'll be celebrated, and people want to identify with me.
In fact, as it is today, it looks like education is being underrated.
Yes,
because people believe they can actually do one or two things and make money. Now, money seems to be the focus of everybody. Yes. Nobody is concerned about what is right, morally right or wrong. Now, let's look at the religious organizations. Do you think they are doing enough in curbing moral decadence?
First things first, I'll say they're not doing enough. And secondly, even if they're doing enough, they can do better. You can always better your best. When you see that, of course, the vices are increasing in society, then of course you should take more responsibility to do the needful. These people that are perpetrating these vices in the society or the moral decadence they're not Ghanaians, they're still Nigerians. And this is on Sundays or Fridays, they either go to the mosque or the churches. So who are they? They are still members of certain religious houses. So
yes, okay.
It is their responsibility to ensure that they keep. And these things happen even within the churches. There's politics within churches. There are things that happen. Only that some of them may turn a blind eye, or when a certain distinguished individuals are the ones involved, they may turn a blind eye. But the onus is now on us and on everyone, because you see, there's a saying that if everyone sweeps the front of his house, the whole world will be clean. If everyone should sweep his surroundings, the world will be clean. So we all have a responsibility. You don't expect Buhari to come all the way from Abuja to come and fix Lagos. You have governors. You have a governor in Lagos. You don't expect someone to come to your local government to do the needful. You have local government. You have councillors, around. So it is highly crucial, even in estates. They don't have to come beg you to clean your surroundings. So we all need to be involved. It's a collective responsibility. A
situation whereby some people do not want to be involved. They are not concerned. And you know why? Some people have said that some don't want to be involved in this moral stories we are talking about, in the sense that, okay, the way they make money is immoral, so to speak. But before we talk about that, let's look at the religious aspect which you talked about. And you said they can actually do enough by doing sensitization.
Yes, sensitization. What messages do they preach? You don't necessarily need to be a Christian.
But of course, you must have seen stories whereby we have religious leaders doing what is not expected of them. Now, what happens to the society? So in that regard, can we still say that religious organizations can help? Can they really help?
Of course.
That's the question.
Yes,
because of what is happening. I'm talking about recent reports, all of those things you see on the media, news and all of that. Do you still think the religious society can help?
Yes, because I strongly believe, because if you let's take away from the perspective of now the Christian or the Muslim and all that. Yeah. Psychologically, everyone has a belief. You must believe in something. The values that you kindness is a belief. I believe that if you see someone who is needy, you may decide that you don't care. I'm not his father. I'm not related. But there's something in you that tells you, oh, I need to support this person. And then you get out naira from your pocket and you get. It's a belief that you have. Now, one of the roles of religious houses is that they need to, of course, help imbibe beliefs in people. And despite the fact that it's not working doesn't mean or it's failed or it can never work. So I think it's we need the government to also we need the government to sort of look into or find policies to ensure that they ensure that these religious houses or religious societies are doing the needful. And it's still a product of the society, because whoever becomes the leader of a religious group was perhaps nominated by a number of people. Some of them may say, oh, the God was the one who appointed a certain leader. But if that leader continued to portray certain values that are wrong, then it's within our jurisdiction. It's our duty to remove such a person.
All right, let's look at poverty. Some have said poverty is a problem. It's a reason why people get into moral immorality, so to speak, stealing and all of that. What is your take on that?
Yeah, to a certain degree, I strongly believe, there are certain people who have actually indulged in cannibalism when they couldn't find any means of survival. So that's part of where the government comes into play, to ensure that yes, the gap between the rich and the poor is not so wide that an average Nigerian can afford to feed himself.
Okay, let's look at, there are situations whereby people are advised to take responsibilities. Despite the fact that we are saying, oh, poverty, people are still making money. As we speak right now, some people, we have some youth out there doing one or two things, creating, ideas, new ideas, and they're making money. So can we really say it's about the government or people who have decided not to take steps?
There will always be disparities in every economy. You always have the upper class, the middle class, and the lower class. It's in every society. You always have those who are less privileged. You always have those who are physically challenged. You always have those who are perhaps sick and cannot. So how do you help them? Those who perhaps cannot cater for themselves. So regardless of the fact that no matter how the economy is, no matter how, even during COVID, there are people who they claim that was the best moment of their lives. The founder of Zoom made over 4 billion.
Yes.
When COVID had just even started, let alone as it went on. So there are people that will always still thrive during economic depression and all that. However, there are still those who would be heavily hit. So how do you cater for an inclusion where you ensure that these people do not be they ensure that their survival is taken into consideration? Because for example, let me give this vivid example. You're doing so well, you live in a community that you're perhaps the most wealthy person and all that. However, your direct neighbor or someone on your streets is hungry, cannot eat, cannot feed. If you keep neglecting that person, then it's only a matter of time before you get robbed. It's only a matter of time before you get attacked. So you need to cater for that person on your street. That doesn't happen. Even during COVID, part of the things that I was propagating, that you see, be your brother's keeper. It's not a Christian monopoly. Moral value is not about religion. When you do certain things that are wrong, there's something your conscience tells you this thing is wrong. You don't have to believe, you don't have to belong to a certain church or mosque. These are things, this is just humanity. So we need to consider them. We need to consider those that, of course, that have heavily eaten. Because ever since COVID and, of course, a lot of people lost jobs and the unemployment rate has increased, it's not surprising that, of course, the crime rate has also increased. Ritual killings and all that has also increased. So how do you curb it? You need to provide jobs, and you need to find ways to ensure that these people too, they can survive.
But some people, they like to protect themselves. They want to avoid issues. When you say love your neighbor as yourself, yes,
I didn't say love your neighbor as yourself. I said be your brother's keeper.
Be your brother's keeper. Okay, but love your neighbor as yourself, does it not apply? It does. But situations whereby you try to be nice, you want to be morally right, and it looks like it's not paying the bills. What happens? Have you seen a situation like that whereby it looks like, I can tell of a particular celebrity, a music artist, who said, when he was singing good songs, be good, be nice, be safe, don't do bad, don't do harm. Nobody knew him. But immediately it turned to the other song, singing yo. Everybody took it. What do you have to say to that? And the other song I'm talking about is part of the problems we may have in the society, of course, affecting people. What do you have to say to that?
Well, that particular individual, now it depends. While there are certain times,
and some other people who could be in that shoe.
Yeah, I know that, but now it's also the kind of society that we live in, where people pay more attention to. It's an entertainment driven society.
Yes.
And it's not just even artists, there are people that are indulging in things that are right, but when they go south, when they start to do the wrong things, that's when they start to get attention and all that. I think it boils down to still your moral values. Now, going the other way, doing the wrong things, and they're making money from it. How do you feel about it? Do you feel fulfilled eventually? Looking at the end of your life, would you look back and say, "Oh, I did the right thing," despite making all the money?
But do they really care about that?
Well, they don't care because the society still hails them. They don't care because they feel that maybe the conscience now is also being corrupted, so they don't care. They're just enjoying, what they have at the moment. They don't really care. But that's where you still need the government. There has to be a sort of balance.
Okay.
Because eventually you're singing songs that are not they're not dignifying, they're not edifying, and it's corrupting the average.
But don't forget we have agencies in charge of that.
Yes, but how much are they doing? Are they enforcing the laws? Are they not being subjected to bribes and corruption? Are they doing the needful? So they need to work more on that.
All right, before we go, I want your last word on this show. Not your last word, finally, but then just for this show. What you think about what people should do, your advice for people, family, the society, religious organizations, and all of that. What we need to start doing from now, henceforth. What should we start doing?
Yes, so it's a collective responsibility.
Okay.
You and I are going to fix this country. You and I are going to fix this world. It's not just going to be left to the government, Buhari, the administration.
Absolutely.
It's you and I. If you see your friend in a vehicle and he picks a pet bottle and throws it out, you call him to order. That's how it's being done. You call people to order. When you are perpetrating the wrong evil and the wrong things, and people in that vicinity are coming quiet, sometimes silence can also mean consent.
Absolutely.
Then of course people will continue to indulge in that same character. So it's a collective responsibility. One man cannot build a nation. The citizens, they build a nation. So you and I need to be involved, being good models of the society, for our children, and of course sensitization, sensitizing ourselves, preaching good words or preaching good messages, not just through our words, but through our acts. Someone said that, the best message you can give out there is a good life, a good legacy.
A good legacy. All right. So that's it. The best you can give to people, especially when it comes to moral upbringing, is your act. Fathers, mothers, everybody, teachers, educators, organizations, leaders in all areas of life should be somebody that can be emulated. You should be worthy of emulation, so that when it's time for us to say, oh, please don't do this, of course, people can agree with us. All right, remember, you can join the conversation. It continues on our social media platforms. Your Viewpoint is a handle on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're going to be rounding off right now. We want to appreciate you for being a part of Your Viewpoint this first episode. Of course, it will be coming your way Tuesdays, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. I want to appreciate our guests for being on the show this morning. We've been talking to a life coach and, of course, an emotional intelligence expert. He's also a TV host. He's been doing this for some time now. He's popularly called T.I. So when next you hear the word T.I., that's Tosin Imogeme. Thank you for coming once again.
It's a pleasure.
All right, that's a wrap on Your Viewpoint this week. Thank you so much for being there. See you next week. Bye for now.